Welcome, everybody. You are here today because you have a creative skill and a passion, and you're wondering how you can do this every day of your life and how you can thrive at it. And I want to tell you that you are in the right place. And whether you're just in the beginning of your journey or you are an established freelancer or creative entrepreneur, I want to tell you that there's a lot of value in this presentation for you. So let me go ahead. I have my whole setup here with me, and I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you. Because I have tons of value to share with you in this book presentation / workshop. So my promise for you today is that I will show you how to build a business around your unique creative skill. You have a thing you're really good at, and I'm gonna show you how to build a business around your creative skill. And I want to be clear that the strategies that I'm gonna share with you today work for lettering artists, graphic artists, illustrators, commercial artists, animators, graphic designers, muralists, printmakers, digital artists, art directors, freelance creatives, creative entrepreneurs, visual storytellers, art students and recent graduates, and any creative looking to turn their passion into a career. And I know this because I have used them personally to build my own business as a lettering artist, but also because I've helped hundreds of lettering artists, graphic artists, illustrators, commercial artists, animators, graphic designers, muralists, printmakers, digital artists, art directors, freelance creatives, creative entrepreneurs, visual storytellers, art students, and recent graduates, and any creative looking to turn their passion into a career to build businesses around their creative skills. So I know all of this not from theory, but from experience, right? I have experienced that myself, but also I have helped other people use the same strategies to build their own businesses. So this is what I will share with you today. I'm gonna share first breakthrough experiences that I had learned throughout the process of building my own business, so you will get all these lessons. I will tell you how you can apply them in your own journey, so you will get actionable steps to put into practice today. I'm also going to invite you to join my mission of making creative business education accessible to all creatives. And I'm also going to show you how to get out of the way and get access to my over 2 years of work today. So let's begin. Make it. Turn your creative skill into a business and thrive doing what you love. So first things first, I mentioned that in this presentation, there's gonna be surprises. I can't tell you what they are just yet, so you will have to stay until the end to find out. But what I can tell you is that at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you a special project that I've been working on for over 2 years, and every single person here today is gonna get access to that. So stay until the end, because every single person here today is gonna get access to that. So for those that don't know me, and I've seen familiar faces on the chat, so welcome everybody. For those that don't know me, my name is Martina Flor. I'm a lettering artist. I'm a creative business owner. I've been in the business of lettering and illustration for over 14 years. I'm a South American living in Germany. I have 2 small kids. I'm the founder of the Lettering Seminar and Live Now. I'm also the coach and guide of hundreds of creatives that have started their entrepreneurial journey. And I'm also the author of 2 books. And today I'm presenting my third book. So in my first book, The Golden Secrets of Lettering, I cover in depth the technicalities of creating lettering. And I went completely into sharing all of the techniques, all of the processes that I use to create lettering. And this is why it has become so valuable for readers that call it the Bible of lettering. On my second book, The Big Leap, I went deep into the technicalities of building a creative business. and running a creative business. Now, with Make It, I'm gonna show you the entire roadmap, and I'm gonna show you how craft and business fit together to build a career you love and build a business where you get the work you're really passionate about. Because I walk the walk, and today I want to take you on a walk with me. And I feel that, and I know that if you know what the steps are, you just need to take them. You just need to do the work. But the hardest part of all is to understand what are the steps, which steps you need to take, right? And I'm gonna share that with you today. So today is gonna be one important presentation that aligns with my mission of making real-life creative business education accessible for everybody. And I invest huge resources, and my team invests time and resources into accomplishing that mission. And today is gonna be, or this event is gonna be the living proof of how committed to this mission we are. And I'm going to deliver to two types of people today. And let me know in the chat if this is you. So those who have no backup at all and no rest to invest, those that are in emergency mode, I promise that I will help you today. And I'm going to deliver on that. So stay until the end, because there's something here for you, regardless of your financial situation or where you're going through right now. And I'm also going to deliver for those who are in the position to help me pay it forward. So I'm going to show you how it is in your own interest to help others to get this information, and stay until the end, because I'm gonna show you how you can join me in this mission and in this movement. So now that we got clear about this, I hope you are ready to start with today's workshop. And I'm gonna ask you, as I always do, turn off your notifications on your phone, close your email app. We're gonna dedicate the next hour and a half, we're gonna spend it together. And I want you to be here present for you, not for me or for anyone else in the chat, but for yourself. So make sure that you participate in the chat and that you stick around for what I have to share in this presentation, and also at the end of this presentation. Now, let's get started. Let me know in the chat who of you wants to do the work they love every single day. Share with me in the chat who of you wants to do the work you love or you're passionate about every single day. So I'm assuming that everybody is saying yes, me, and so on. But the truth is that many creatives aren't doing the work they love. So let me start by reading the preface of my book. There has never been a better moment to make a living with your creative skills. However, many creatives navigate life with the belief that earning from their work is impossible. Consequently, they endure years of struggle and frustration, often defaulting to conventional jobs and resigning themselves to a sense of unfulfilled purpose. The archetype of the starving artist, once prevalent, is now a relic of the past. In today's world, artists have a myriad of tools at their fingertips to sell their work, establish online shops, teach, work for clients, inspire audiences, create podcasts, develop physical or digital products, license their work, write and publish books, and more. All of this is achievable without the need for a substantial budget or complex systems, thanks to the accessibility of self-promotion and global reach. Despite these advancements, outdated narratives persist, undermining the confidence of emerging talent. Phrases like, there's no money in creativity, or secure something stable, and who will pay you for something you would do for free, echo among family, friends, and even well-intentioned art teachers who have embraced these limiting beliefs. Consequently, many artists settle for the status quo, giving up their dreams before they even begin. They resign themselves to an unfulfilled work life, relegating their creativity to a side project, all the while yearning to dedicate their lives to meaningful work they can take pride in. Now, this happens because many creatives don't know how to make it, don't know how to build a business around their creative skills. But that's, to all of you, that's going to change today. So here's the journey we will go on together. First, we will stop. There's 8 steps to this journey that we're going to cover today. The step number 1, hone your skills and invest in your education. We're going to start with your craft, and this is your superpower, so this is important. Step number 1, cultivate the portfolio and have a process. Your portfolio is your presentation card, and we're going to talk about this. Step number 3, offer a distinct product or service. This is what you offer and how you tell the world how you can help them and how you can make an impact with your work. Step number 4, create a vision for your business. And I know for a fact that many artists out there don't have a vision for their business. Let me correct myself. You do have a vision. You haven't gotten clear about it, but every artist and creative has a vision. Step number 5, manage your finances and pricing. And this is a big one that many of you haven't gotten clear about, and we are gonna touch on that today. Step number 6, learn how to market and sell. Market and sell is the engine of your business. Without it, you have no business. So we're gonna touch on that today as well. Step number 7, delegate and buy yourself time. For those that are in freelancing or are already creative entrepreneurs, this is for you. Step number 8, rethink what success looks like. So let's start by touching on step number 1, which is hone your skills and invest in your education. So I'm going to tell you for each step the lessons from my own experience, and I'm also going to tell you what can you do today when it comes to your own journey. So here's a lesson from experience. I used to relegate my creative work to the nights. So I would come home from my day job and I would sit down to work, and I would try to figure everything out on my own on those 2-3 hours that I had in the night, until at some point I decided to double down on my creative skills, and I moved to the Netherlands to join a 1-year program. So you see me there on the right, sitting at my desk on that, in The Hague, the Netherlands, at this 1-year program. In this 1 year, I learned my craft at a profound level, which had an enormous impact on my work. So when I look at the results that I was getting before on my own, and the ones that I was getting when I invested myself into learning the craft, then I feel that it was all worth it. To move to the Netherlands, I left my job, I left my apartment where I was living, I invested all of my savings, and when I could see the impact that this experience had in my work, I felt that it was all worth it. So doubling down on my skill helped me do something really important that I encourage you to do as well, which is building confidence on your creative skills. So doubling down on my skills helped me build confidence on my craft, which is really essential to succeed. And it saved me from a career I didn't enjoy and got me started on my entrepreneurial journey, got me started on my, or helped me launch my career as a lettering artist. That confidence gave me the courage to launch my career as a lettering artist. I wouldn't have done it without having that confidence, without having built that confidence in my skills, which really radically changed my life. So here's what you can do today. Look at your work and be honest. What are some areas of improvement? Do you need to invest time into learning historical models, into acquiring new tools? Do you need to find a guide, someone who guides you in your journey? Do you need to look for other sources of inspirations? Are you investing the time needed to apply what you learn into your work? Now, I want to tell you that something challenging about the discipline in which we operate, which is the world of art and design, is that everyone believes that they are experts because they can have an opinion about a piece of work, right? And I know that you can relate to this because everyone feels that they can get opinionated about art and design. And we need to be careful ourselves as artists and creatives not to fall into this misconception. Art and design have their own principles, structures, and fundamentals, and you should embrace them and learn them and apply them in your work. Remember that your work is your superpower, and this is the first thing that you need to solidify in order to build a business around that creative skill. So look at your work and be honest. What are some areas of improvement? Start writing this down. Step number 2, cultivate a unique portfolio and streamline your creative process. So here are some lessons from experience. So I used to have a drawer with sketches. So on the left is the representation of that drawer with sketches. But the truth is that there was no piece of work that was ever finished. So I used to collect this pile of sketches, and therefore I had no portfolio to show and no proof of my skills. And it wasn't until I transitioned from practicing to creating that I started seeing real results. And by putting myself the goal of creating work and finishing work, I started building a portfolio. So this was a really important step that I started not only building a portfolio, but I was also able to track my progress. So every new piece of work was turning into a milestone in my journey. So every time I sat down to work, I was taking that project seriously and I was committed to finish it. And this is the way I created several milestones in my progress, and I could compare one milestone with the other one and understand whether I was doing things better or not. So this is very important, tracking your progress. And it's something that I recommend you to do from today. So in order to do that, you need to transition from practicing to creating. And in order to do that, you can use this 3 steps framework. The 3 steps of this framework are briefing, deadline, and shipping. For the briefing, you need to define what you are creating and for whom. You need to define, so that means that you are creating some sort of limitations to your work. A briefing is essentially that, placing some limitations to your work. Number of colors, what is this thing that you're creating? Is it a book cover? Is an illustration? What is it? And for whom? Is it for kids? Is it for adults, right? So first you need to define the briefing. Then you need to define a deadline so that you know when you need to be finished, even though it will never be finished. So you need to define that deadline and set it tight. So set that deadline as tight as you can. And lastly, you need to ship the thing. You need to show this thing to the world. And you can do that by sharing that on social media. You can do that by sharing that on your website. You can do that by sharing that with friends or give it to someone as a gift. So start using that framework today, and you will see that in a few months from now, really, if you start today, you will have a portfolio of work to showcase your skills. So by doing this small shift from practicing to creating and using this 3 steps framework, by finishing every new project that you start, you will see that in a few months from now, if you don't have a portfolio yet, you will have a portfolio that showcases your skills. So let's move on to step number 3. We have 8 steps to cover today. Offer a distinctive product or service. So here's the lessons. Here are some lessons from experience. When I just started, I thought that the only way that I could make money as a graphic artist, as a lettering artist, was by working for clients, right? So that stopped me on the tracks because I had no clients. I had none of those. So I wasn't even getting started. But later, I started trying out other venues, other ways of generating income as a lettering artist. And I have tried many of them personally. I have tried custom one-to-one client assignments. I have worked for clients on a retainer. I have created physical products, digital products, knowledge products, coaching. I have earned money through royalties and licensing and through memberships and a lot more. So the first product that I created was a lettering workshop. So the first product I experimented with was a lettering workshop. So my first lettering workshop that I offer was for free. And the workshop was booked out, and after the workshop, the attendees gave me really good feedback. They were really happy about what they had learned in that workshop. So after that first experience that I offer for free, I started charging for those. So many creatives stand in the position of, I won't work for free. And I get that. You don't need to work for free, but you need to be selective about where you invest your time. And because if you stay in that position, you will never get to try anything. You will miss on the opportunity of finding out the overlap between the work you love doing, your expertise, and what people demands from you. This is the sweet spot where you will find success as a creative and as an artist. Remember, the work you love doing, your expertise or what you're great at, and what people want from you. All of these three elements are necessary to succeed as a creative artist. One is missing and you won't be able to make it. So by the way, these illustrations are part of the book. So the book is filled with all of these illustrations. So you should never forget that professionals don't work for free. They strategically choose the projects they invest time on. And this is a quote from the book. And you can invest time on your own projects. Thanks to that one workshop that I just talked about, I was able to, I identified that overlap. And I was able to turn it into a series of workshops. I traveled the world teaching these workshops. I wrote a book that has sold tens of thousands of copies about the process and techniques that I share on those workshops. And now the entire project that led from that small seed of that free workshop had turned into an online academy which serves hundreds of students each year and has helped me build a team that supports all of these students. So can you see the power of just that one test, investing that time into trying out a new product for yourself, for your business? So here's where you, and this is the happy story. Now, let me tell you one story that didn't go as well. So that one really went great, right? And it has helped me build something a lot bigger. And I want to share this one project where I did the mistake of not looking for that overlap first, which is my line of products. When I first launched Martina Flor Goods, which was around 2016, I believe, or 2017, I created a product line with dozens of products that I thought people wanted without even asking them what they wanted. So as a result, many of the products I created flopped, and I was left with loss, like money loss, and tons of inventory. Later on, I learned this new process, and I started asking my audience, what is it that they wanted? And every time I was creating a new product, I was first asking my audience and then determining whether it was worthwhile to create that product. But when I initially started that one project, I didn't ask my audience what they wanted, and therefore a lot of money was lost, and I was left with tons of inventory. So here's what you can do today. Do a small test and start by asking people around you, what is it that they want from you? Ask your friends, your social media. Ask people what they want from you. And here are some things that you can ask. What's a product you would like to see me creating? What's one thing you would like to learn from me? Is this something you would pay money for? How much are you willing to pay? So by asking those questions, you will find the overlap. And once you find it, go deep. So once you make that test, that in my case, it was that free workshop, and I proved that it was working, that there was an overlap there, then I went all in. And I went deep into that, and I expanded that into a series of workshops, and I turned that into a seminar, and I turned that into a book, and I turned that into an online academy that is operating nowadays, right? So once you find that overlap, go deep. But first you need to start asking. You need to start asking people around you, what is it that they want from you? So let's move on to step number 4. Create a vision for your business. So here's a lesson from experience. When I started, I had no vision at all. And I mean, this happens to many creatives that start their business. And I thought that a vision was, I want to do the work I love, right? That was enough of a vision. Or I want to work for Adidas or Nike, and that was enough of a vision. But when I eventually achieved those goals, I realized that there needs to be something greater than that to get out of bed every morning, right? And there's a Japanese proverb that says that vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Let me repeat that to you because I think it's so clear. Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Action without vision, work without vision, it's just a lot of work, and it's a nightmare because there's no purpose for what you're doing. When you have a vision, you have a purpose for doing the work, and everything becomes clear. You know what are the decisions you need to make. You stay on course because, and you stay away from distractions because you have a vision and you know what will lead to accomplish that vision. And you build connections because you attract the right clients and the right team. A vision really helps me nowadays engage a team that helps me accomplish that vision. Without that vision, there's no way to engage others in the team helping me every day. And a vision helps you determine where you're headed and what you want your vision to accomplish for you, for your customers, and for the world. So it's not only important for attracting the right team and for indicating the right direction, but it's also important for you as a person, as a creative, and also for your customers. If your customers can resonate with your vision, they will become your ideal customers. You will attract the right clients. So I often hear creatives complaining about their clients, that they're working for clients, like for clients they don't like. And this is perhaps the reason why they're attracting the wrong people, because they are not putting forward the right vision, or they're not putting any vision forward. So once you start putting this vision forward, this serves as a clear indicator for your clients. They will know that you're the right person for them, and for yourself, you will know exactly in which direction you're going. So here's what you can do today. Get clear about your vision. Every artist, every creative has a vision. The problem is that you haven't gotten clear about it. So just to give you an idea and to give you a little bit of a template to create this vision, you can use something like this. I envision the product, service, or artwork you are creating so that, and describe what is the positive change in your audience and customer's life, right? Think of these two elements. I envision two, and what is it that you want to create in the world, and how is that gonna impact other people positively? Once you get clear about this, keep it, write it somewhere where you can see it every day. Write it on your desk, or make a post-it and stick it on your computer screen, but have it visible every day. Step number 5, manage your finances and pricing. Here's a lesson from experience. So first, let me start by saying that most creatives don't know how much they should be making to sustain their livelihood. So what happens is that they establish their pricing from the top of their heads, right? Without really knowing, based on assumptions of how much they should be charging. And another thing is that most artists don't protect their work through usage rights and licenses. So I'm gonna tell you 2 stories, a sad story and a happy story. And these are, lessons from my own experience that I'm gonna share with you today. So early in my career, I was approached by an agency to revamp a client's logotype. And at that time, I didn't even bother, I was just starting, and I didn't even bother with screening questions like, what is the project goal, or what is the investment you're looking to make? I didn't even ask what the client was. So the agency approached me with this client project, and I didn't even ask them what the client was and what was the final product. So I just wanted the job to cover my most immediate bills, and this is what I did. So I went ahead and I estimated the number of hours that the job would take me, which at that time wasn't much for me because it was a logotype, the polishing of the logotype or a redesign of the logotype, which was, for me, was a very technical job, which I could execute in a few hours. Which leads me to also to say that the fact that it takes you less hours doesn't mean that you should be charging less, but that's another story. Let me continue with my story. So I went ahead and I estimated the number of hours that I was going to dedicate to that project, and I sent them a quotation of $500 for the logotype redesign. They approved the quotation right away, which is normally not a great indicator of pricing, of your pricing. And I move on to working on the project, and I deliver a contemporary redesign of the logotype, which you can see on the left. So I submitted the files, I sent my invoice, they paid for it, and that was it. Only that it wasn't. So a month later, I went on Instagram, and I saw the agency that had hired me to do the logotype redesign unveiling the rebranding for one of the largest frozen food brands in the UK and the world. For those that are joining from the UK, you may probably recognize this brand. And my logotype was all over their new packaging, the updated website, the social media materials, all of their communications. It was clear to me that this company had invested millions of dollars in the rebranding process, and that the agency had likely earned a high six-figure commission from that project. In contrast, I had charged $500 for my redesign. And this experience, now I can tell you, looking back, I can tell you this story and smile. Because thanks to that story, I learned a lesson. This experience really taught me that underpricing not only leaves you feeling miserable, because at that time when I saw this, I thought, what did I do? How could I give my work away in such a crazy way? Because it not only makes you feel miserable, but it also makes you look unprofessional in the eyes of your clients. I can imagine the agency, the art directors in the agency that hire me, I can imagine them looking at that quotation and be surprised. And I have to say, a little bit sorry. So that logo is now, of course, lesson learned. And that logo is now showcased on my website right next to the logotypes that I later charged 5 figures for. So that lesson was learned. And at the moment, it made me feel miserable about my work. But I'm glad that I went through that lesson because I learned that and I could change it for future projects. But I can also share that story and that lesson with you. Now, and write it on the chat if you have ever experienced something like this, because it doesn't feel nice. It doesn't make you feel like a professional. It also doesn't make you feel proud of your work. It just leaves you miserable or feeling miserable about your work. Now, let me tell you the happy story. I created this custom lettering piece that you see on the right for the seasonal campaign of a foundation that is Pompe Pearls Foundation. And at that time, I charged an appropriate fee and I set clear usage rights. So it wasn't only about the fee for creating the product or the artwork, but I also set clear usage rights, how long they could use this artwork, in which territory, for which applications. So I delivered the design, I invoiced the work, and I moved on. Now, a year later, I received an email from the client informing me that because the artwork had performed that well, the client now wanted to license it again. It would pay me twice the original fee, so I charged twice the original fee for the license at all. So only for the license, without even lifting a finger. So because I had protected my work a year before when I delivered the project, I could now charge just for the licensing of that project. And this illustrates really the power of not only charging properly for your work, but also protecting your work and being strategic with your pricing. So something also that is important in order to understand your pricing as a creative is that it all starts with understanding how much you need to be making. Because as I said before, if you don't know what you need to be making, you would just be making up prices. And it's all about understanding what is your baseline, how much you need to be making to to support your lifestyle. And from that, with that information, you can establish your pricing, right? So the first step towards charging appropriately is to get clear about your income and how much you need to be making. So knowing your required income provides peace of mind in your entrepreneurial journey because you know that what you're charging is going to support your business. And if it supports your business, you can continue doing business and you get to do the work you love. But if the work you're creating or how much you're charging for it is not supporting your business, then eventually you're going to close that business and you won't get to do the work you love. So this is what I want you to do today, or this is what you can do about it today. First, get clear about how much you should be making, right? And inside the book, I give you access to my pricing calculator, which is a digital tool to do just that. But for now, I want you to get started by making a detailed list of how much you should be making to sustain your lifestyle, how much you are spending in your personal life, how much your business is costing you. And I want you to get really clear about those expenses and understand how much you need to be making per month. Another thing I want you to get clear about is how many hours are you effectively working. And when I say effectively working, it's not all of the hours that you work per week, but how many hours go into really creating the artwork? Because, you know, running a business is about a lot of different things. It's not only about creating the artwork or the creative work itself. It's also about updating your website and promoting yourself and invoicing clients and putting up those offers or quotations, right? So I want you to take first how many hours you work per week, and eliminate from that all of those hours that go into administrative work and promotional work and all of that stuff that I mentioned, updating your website and all that stuff. This is gonna give you the effective hours or the effective work hours that you dedicate to creating the artwork. So once you have what you need to be making and the effective hours that you dedicate to creating the artwork, you are gonna divide one by the other. And that's gonna give you a baseline hourly rate. So it doesn't mean that you're gonna start charging an hourly rate. What it means that the pricing that you create should at least cover that hourly rate. An hourly rate, or having an hourly rate clear in your mind, is very useful so that you don't go under that threshold. It's just useful so that you at least cover that hourly rate, and all of your pricing is gonna go above that. And I want you to, with that information, I want you to go and review past projects. Have you charged accordingly? Could you have charged more for those projects based on this new information? So I want you to go through this process and do it for yourself. Get clear about how much you should be making, and then that will help you determine how much you should be charging. Step number 6, and this is a big one, learn how to market and sell. So here are some lessons from experience. Marketing and sales are the engine of your business. This sounds like a no-brainer. I know that whoever I tell this, from any industry, whoever I tell this will say, yeah, of course, this is the engine of any business, not only a creative business, but any business. The problem is that most of us creatives are not doing it. And if you don't sell your services or products, you won't be making a profit, and you will eventually have to go close your business and go get an old job somewhere. So I used to work on a very well-known brand for jeans, for denim, and back in the days, and this is me in my office, and something that always struck me was that the brand was spending an amazing amount of their budget into marketing their products, into marketing and sales. So when I started my own business, and I was involved in that because I was creating all of the promotional material for the brand. I was involved into creating the catalogs and the posters and the billboards for the public space. I was creating the shop windows, everything that was visible as part of their marketing strategy. I was in charge of that. So when I started my own business, I continued doing the same, but for myself. So I created promotional material. I went on networking gatherings. I was active on social media. I created blog posts and articles. I even hosted, and you can see it on the right, I even hosted open studio sessions where I was opening my studio for the general public to come see my work, to speak about my process and the projects I was working on. And you can see me right there on the right, standing in front of many of the promotional material that I was creating and sending to potential clients. So something I learned back in my corporate job was that marketing and selling your work is really important. It's the engine of your business. And if I was marketing or I was creating marketing material for someone else, I was definitely gonna create that for myself, and I did. So most artists believe, and let me know in the chat if this is you, because perhaps many of you have shifted that belief, but I see this over and over again, that most artists believe that the mere action of showing their work is enough to get attention. And you like the idea, or many of you like the idea of like, if I build it, they will come, right? And I want to tell you that if I build it, they will come is a bad strategy. Instead of waiting to be discovered, you want to go after opportunities, because also this puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you into, or it turns you into a person who is going after the opportunities instead of waiting. And if you don't, someone else will. So while you are waiting for opportunities to come your way, some other creatives are going after those opportunities and holding on to them. So here's what you can do today. You may be saying, hey, Martina, I don't have clients, right? But I want to tell you that you are now sitting on a wealth of contacts right now. If you open your phone, you will have at least a client base or a potential client base of 200 people to contact on your contact book, but also on your Instagram account, on your social media. So I want you to start with the people, and this is one of the illustrations inside the book, and is my framework to do client outreach and to start putting the word out there, putting your work out there, right? So first, you want to start with the people that know you the most, and that is gonna be friends and family, right? Right in the middle. So the people that know you the most are your warmest leads, are the people who already know you, already know how great you are, and they will hire you first. So if you offer your services to them and they need your services or your product, they will hire you first, right? Because they already know you and they will choose you over any other person they don't know. So one of the people I want you to reach out to, if you are currently employed, is your current employer. So this could be your first contact. This could be your first client. It was for me when I started my freelance journey. So my first client was my employer back then. And that was my first client as a freelancer. And your contact book is going to be your first contact base. You will tell them first and then move on to other people that you don't know, right? Now, many of you will say like, well, but my family don't want to pay, or my family and friends won't want to pay for my work, right? But the truth is that it's us, the ones who don't charge family and friends for our work. And if you tell them that this is now your business, they will understand that your work has a price. And if they can pay for a piece of bread at the bakery, they understand that your work as a creative and the artwork that you create has a price. So I want you to start there. I want you to start leveraging your existing contact list. So if you want to start acquiring some clients, start by marketing to the people you already know. This is the easiest way to get started. It's the fastest way to get an assignment and earn money. Step number 7, delegate and buy yourself time. And I know that some of you will say like, well, Martina, this is far from where I am right now. I'm just starting. And I want to tell you that this is still very valuable information, whether you're just starting or you are a well-established freelancer or creative entrepreneur. So here are some lessons from experience. I had, when I started, 2 misconceptions around delegating work and hiring people. One was that in order to be unique, I had to do everything, right? And no one would do it as I did it. The second one is that I needed to hire experts. I needed to hire people that are in the game for a long time, and therefore I needed to pay them a very high salary, right? So for the first misconception that I had, I learned that if I could learn it, so many of the things that I do in my business, I learned that I have done them myself, and I had to learn them. So if I could learn it, others can learn it too. And so what I needed essentially is to create procedures to indicate how exactly I wanted things to be done, and then have someone or find someone to learn that, to do it exactly as I wanted it, right? To do it exactly under the standards of my business. And the other misconception is that I needed to hire experts. And I learned with the time that I need to hire someone with the right attitude. I need to find someone who has the right attitude, the attitude that is geared towards learning, that is open to learn new things. And when I started understanding this is where I understood that my business could grow beyond myself or beyond what I could do. So for the second case, I learned that hiring people with the right attitude is far more important than finding the expert, the person who knows how to do it. And this is the primary thing, and until the date, this is the primary thing that I evaluate in a new staff member. Are they willing to learn? Are they consistent and follow procedures? Because they not only need to be willing to learn, but they also need to be ready to follow procedures, to do the things as I learned to do, as I have stipulated them in a manual or in instruction. So as your creative business grows, if you try to do it all on your own, nothing gets done, right? And let me know in the chat if there's any of you who is experiencing that right now. If you try to do it all on your own, at the end, nothing gets done because you feel overwhelmed. It is just too much. And you cannot cover all of it, right? Your brain cannot just switch from one thing to the other that fast, right? So this is what you can do today. Identify your genius zone. And this is useful for you, regardless of whether you're ready to hire or not. But identify your genius zone gives you enormous information, because perhaps there's some of this work that you will steal, or there's some of the work that is not in your genius zone that you will execute today because you are at a certain stage of your business. But understanding what are the things that could be done by someone else is essential, because when you need to delegate, you will be ready. You will understand exactly what needs to be delegated. So your genius zone are the things that you excel at and that brings you more leverage, or brings more leverage to your business. So this is your genius zone. What are the things that you excel at and bring the most leverage to your business? And what are the things that drain your energy, that don't need to get done by you, and also drain your energy, that after you do them, you're like, oh my God, I cannot see this anymore. I cannot write any other invoice anymore, right? I cannot do any bookkeeping anymore. Can you relate to this? So I can relate, because this is the number one thing that I delegated in my business. And remember that your genius zone is where you will ideally operate all of the time. And if you can get to the place where you operate in the genius zone and delegate the rest, this is where your business will grow, and you will get to have more impact and create more income. And I have an extra hint for you, for all of you. Start tracking your time. You can use a free tool like Toggle. For those in the chat, that are here in the session that have participated in my Live Now coaching program, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that many of you have implemented this in your business. So start tracking your time. Use a free tool like Toggle, so it's Toggle, and you will be surprised of where your time goes. Once you start seeing where your time goes, you will be a lot more intentional in the way you invest it. And we are here in step number 8, rethink what success looks like. Now, I want to tell you that our biggest challenge is that we have turned our hobby into our jobs, and detaching ourselves from our work is almost impossible. And as you become more successful, you will find more opportunities and feel compelled to do them all. But this leads to the possibility of burning out and ending up hating your job. So you can be the worst boss you have ever had. And never forget that your business should support the life you want. So let me read to you one of the parts of my book where Mary, the protagonist, has a conversation with the artist, which is her mentor. And it is exactly at this stage of her business where she has become the worst boss ever. So Mary says, "I'm the worst boss, and I don't know what to do about it," Mary concluded. The artist looked into Mary's eyes and gently held her arm with one hand, which led Mary to start crying. "Mary, I want to tell you that you're doing amazing. Even when you're pushing your limits, your integrity and work ethic shine through. You don't want to let down your clients or your business. That speaks volumes about you, and I couldn't be prouder." Mary continued to cry. She cried for all the time she hadn't allowed herself to rest, for the months of back pain, for the mess in her studio, and for the overwhelming feeling whenever she sat down to work. "I feel bad for complaining because this is what I always dreamed of. I know many artists will do anything to have what I have. I guess this is the price of success." "Does this feel like success to you, Mary?" Mary looked at the artist, confused and unsure of what she meant. Did she have to give it all up? "This is entirely normal, and I knew it would happen at some point," the artist said emphatically. "The good news is there's a solution. You are entering a new phase in your business where it's grown beyond what you can handle on your own." So this leads to say that success is what you want it to be. And you should always strive, and this is one of the tips inside the book, you should always strive for a creative business that not only allows you to pursue the work you love, but also supports the lifestyle you want. Ultimately, your solo business should be the most fulfilling job you could imagine. What is the meaning of creating a job where you work 24/7, where you don't have work for family and friends and for other things that are important in life, right? And many of us think of success when we see someone or an artist really busy at doing what they love. But the truth is that for many of us, this is not what success looks like. For many of us, success looks like having a more balanced life, having a life where you have time to pursue other things, other interests, besides your creative work. So here's what you can do today. How would you like your life and work to look like in 5 years from now? And I would like for you to write it on the chat. Let's do this work together right now. How would you like your life and work to look like in 5 years from now? How would you like that constellation to look like? And I want you to have into account all of the things, not only the work you're doing, but also how does your life look like? Do you have time to take care of yourself, of your health? Do you have time to work out, to meet with friends? Do you have time to take time off and go on a holiday? How do you want your life to look like in 5 years from now? I want you to write it on the chat. Because I think it's us who need to define success for ourselves. And once you define success for yourself, you can start building a business that supports that. And it's not the other way around. It's not like this is what a successful business should look like, and you should just follow that and see if you're happy about it. I think it should be the other way around. It should be, this is how I want my life and work to look like, and this is the business that I build so that I can support that. So let me know in the chat, what is it, how will your life and work look like in 5 years from now? So Monica is saying, doing creative work that I enjoy and making a living, not spending my time doing resumes for a job. Ran, being secure with my work, allowing me to relax. Oh yes, Ran. Lara, travel more, work on the go, create more. Inspire Creativity is saying, Amy, in 5 years, operating with healthy, automated systems in my business with several income streams, as well as my client work. I can tell that you are a Live Now member. Systems, income streams, all of these resonate with, or all of this has to do with Live Now. Liz, doing work I love while having time to spend with family and friends and having the brain space to relax, not feel fried all the time, working hard but not working all the time. Oh yes, I can totally relate to that. A. Frank, would like to be traveling, exercising, hanging out with friends, and creating work that I feel good about and get paid well for. I would like to hold workshops and to create licensing projects. Tara, traveling and teaching. Simple and powerful. Katie, more established, proud of what I have accomplished without feeling like I had to compromise. This is so great because you can see that you have a clear vision of what you want for your life and work. And what you need is then to build a business around that. Once you have that clear, the business should support that and not the other way around. So can you see how, after this presentation, can you see how building a business can help you build a life you want, doing the work you love? And can you see also how business skills may be the bridge between where you are and where you want to go? Because they had been for me. You know, learning all these business skills through lessons, some of them not nice that I have shared with you throughout this presentation. But these business skills have been really useful for me, or instrumental to be able to build a business I love and that supports the life I want. But here's the truth. Even if we had a day together instead of just an hour like today, it's going to be hard to give you all the things that I can give you and all of the lessons that I have learned. So no matter how good anyone else, a 90-minute presentation is not going to change your life. So you need more than that. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I continue to see all of your, all of the things that you're sharing on the chat, and these are powerful. And if you love what I shared with you so far, you will love what's coming next. Because I'm not gonna let you down on this one. For this presentation, I had two options. So the option number one is to say goodbye and let you figure out things on your own. And my second option was to take responsibility for your success and create a win-win situation. So of course I chose the second option, you know me, and stay because it's about to get crazy. And spoiler alert, the surprise is coming up. So I'm really excited to introduce you to Make It. Many of you on the chat know Make It already, have read Make It already. So we had a group of advanced readers that have read the book and have given me an honest, amazing feedback on the book. And I'm really excited to introduce this third book of mine. This book is going to show you how to go from an amateur to pro, turn your creative skill into a business you love, and supports the life you want. And it's going to cover all of the things that we have gone through today in depth. So you're going to touch on professional mindset, creating a standout portfolio, developing unique offerings, financial management, mastering marketing and sales, time management and delegation, and redefining success. Now, Make It is not your regular business book, and you have seen a peek of that today when I read the preface and also an excerpt of the conversation between Mary, the protagonist, and the mentor, the artist. It is the story of Mary, and I'm gonna just flicker through some of the amazing reviews that the advanced readers left for the book. And the book is the story of Mary, a creative in crisis that is working at a job she dislikes, who, with the help of a mentor that is called the artist, and you have met her today, builds a business around her creative skills. It is a story full of tips and also teachable moments, and is followed by an implementation guide that will help you implement the things that you have learned throughout observing Mary's journey. And I want to thank all of the advanced readers that have left a review of the book, because it has been essential for me to continue down the road of launching this book. Because I have to say that the process of bringing something to life like a book that took me over 2 years to bring to life has a lot of ups and downs and self-doubt, and Roma, who is part of my team, who is for sure in the chat, has seen me go through these ups and downs of self-doubt and thinking, is people gonna read this book? Are they gonna like it? And I have to say that as I saw the advanced readers copies reviews coming in, that gave me the extra courage to say, like, yes, let's do this. Let's make it a virtual launch event. Let's bring a lot of value together with the launch of this book. So the book is just one part of it, but that's not all. So together, besides when you get the book, besides the book, you're gonna get access to a training. So reading the book is really a fantastic start, but we all know that putting those principles into practice is what really makes the magic happen. And this is exactly what the training is going to help you do. And you will also get access to the workbook, which is your guide to putting theory into practice and tracking your progress. So at the end of the day, you will have this roadmap that is tailored to you and yourself and your own goals, and you can hold it in your hands while you take the plunge into building a business around your creative skill. So this is what you will get together with the book. You will get the book, you will get a training that helps you implement the book. And remember that the book not only has the story of Mary, which has a lot of teachable moments and that I know that you will enjoy, but also it has an implementation guide that is then taken into action with the training and complemented by the workbook. So this is more valuable than the tens of thousands of dollars that you have spent or you would spend in art education that does not include business skills. Personally, my art education has not included any inch of business skills. And it has really cost me tens of thousands of dollars to figure out what works. And you have seen one small example today of that, the logotype that I charged $500 for. That costed me tens of thousands of dollars. This lesson costed me tens of thousands of dollars that I could have charged for that one logotype. And before I tell you how you can access to this, and how much it costs to access all of this. So the training, the book, the workbook. I want to ask you, how much doing the work you love and getting paid for it is worth for you? So write it on the chat. How much? Put a price tag on that. And this is a safe space. Don't worry. You don't have to pull your credit card. But how much does it cost? What is the price tag that you will put to doing work you love and getting paid for it every single day? Is it $1,000? Is it $5,000? Is it $30,000? Is it $100,000? I'm not going to charge you $100,000. I'm also not going to charge you $30,000. I'm certainly not going to charge you $5,000, although it has cost me a lot more to learn all of this. I'm not even going to charge you $1,000. You will get access to all of this, the book, the training, the workbook that complements it, for $0.99. So, needless to say, this is a symbolic price. And you're going to just access to it by paying $0.99. I don't want your financial situation to get on the way of getting this at all. And it is also my way of saying thank you for being here, for being part of this movement, for helping me move the needle of the creative business through reading the book, learning the strategies, and putting them into practice. Obviously, this is a symbolic price for what you're getting, but I believe in making investments in time, in money, and I want you to make a very small, tiny investment, which is this 99 cents, as symbolic as it may be, but it's your proof that you're committed to this. It's a symbolic price, and it's your proof that you're committed to this. Now, the only thing, and this is gonna be available just for a couple of days, so if you want it, go get it. You don't need to think about it. You just have to go and get the book. The only thing that I ask you to do is to share the hell out of it, to share with everybody, to go share the book. So you can go get the book on martinaflor.com/make-it. You will go and press the button, and after you get your book and you get your confirmation order, go get the number and insert it in that form, and you will get access to the training and the workbook. That's it. So you go get the book, and then you take that order confirmation, and you put it in that form, and we'll give you access to the training. And what I ask you in return is that you share it and you help me spread the word. Promise me that you will go download the book on martinaflor.com/make-it, and I bet that Roma is sharing that on the chat, so you will find the link on the chat. Now, in the very beginning of the presentation, I said that I would deliver I was going to help two types of people today. So for those that are in trouble and have no investment capability, I deliver on that. So you can go download the book, the training, the workbook, all of that for a symbolic price of 99 cents. Now, for the second group, those that are in the position to help me pay forward, I want to say that it took me over 2 years to write this book and prepare the training and the workbook, and my entire team has been working on bringing this to life. I made 4 drafts of this book, and I went through the editing process with my editor, Carmela, to get exactly what you needed, to distill exactly the information that you needed in an engaging story, which is the one of Mary and the Artist. I really love writing, and I have to thank my dad for instilling that love for writing and reading to me. And actually, I dedicated the book to my dad and my mom. But it's a hard process. Writing is hard. And sometimes you sit down to write and nothing comes out, and you are struggling with your own words. And we did the design in-house, beautiful design made by Elias. And I drew the illustrations myself that you have seen throughout the presentation. And here I am bringing this book to life, launching this book in a live event. So this is why I'm happy to introduce for all of you our collector's edition. But before I tell you how to get it, I want to ask you, how many of you have been impacted, positively impacted by the courses and the books and the content that you have consumed and has really moved the needle of your life, your craft and business? How many of you appreciate a book? How many of you appreciate a course? How many of you appreciate the power that learning has for you and your career? Drop it on the chat. Because I know that many of you know how life-changing skills can be. I know for a fact that skills can be life-changing. Not only creative skills, but also business skills. So I want you to help me share that. And I want you to buy a book and give a book to 2 friends. So if you believe what I believe, which is doing work with purpose, being here for the long run and building long-lasting impact and legacy, in not letting the old narrative define your path, in making a positive impact with your creativity. If you believe in what I believe, then grab a 3-pack and give a book to 2 friends that can benefit from this information. You just go to martinaflor.com/make it. You click on Collector's Edition. You choose between buying a copy for yourself or buying a 2-pack or buying a 3-pack. And if you buy a pack, I will send you this print. So this is a quote by Doris Lessing that I learned towards the beginning of my career. And it has become my mantra all throughout my journey. It is also the quote that is in the beginning of the book. So as you open the book, you will find this quote. And up until now, it has been something that was only in my studio space. And it was always a mantra for me. But if you support me in this mission by buying a copy for yourself and giving a copy to someone else, then you will get this as a token of my appreciation. And you will become part of this movement of making business, creative business education available for everybody, for every creative out there, because we so much need it. We so much need this information, and I'm committed to do this. And if you participate in this movement, then I'm going to send you a print as a token of my appreciation for doing that. So now that I share that, I need to say that when we sent the collector's edition to print 2 weeks ago, it was before we even announced this event, and it was before I even had the reviews of my advanced reader copies, which was the first indication of like, well, this book is worthwhile, and this book is gonna be in the hands of a lot of creatives out there. So we sent the collector's edition to print 2 weeks ago before we announced this event, and we only have 100 copies right now. So they will definitely run out very fast. There are 3,000 people that are registered to this event only. And I after this event, I'm going to send the replay to them. And I'm also going to share that inside among my subscribers list of 30,000 people. So, and after we will send it we will share it on social media, which counts to a total of 170,000 people on social media. So you see the point. If you want a copy, go get a copy now, because they're gonna run out fast. There are only 100 copies of this collector's edition. And remember, if you buy a pack, we will send you a print as a token of appreciation. So here's a couple of things to have into account. So as you know, you go on martinaflor.com/make-it, you choose collector's edition. And here are a couple of things that you need to have into account, which is books are heavy and shipping costs money. We have kept it as low as possible, but it's gonna cost additional money to get the books shipped. The digital training and the workbook is gonna come via email. So you're gonna get all of this, or access to all of this, through email. And make sure you keep the order number to redeem the bonuses, because your training, if you make the purchase, your training is gonna come via email, but you can use that order number to give it to your friends, and they will have access to the training and the workbook as well. So that's all I have to give today. You can notice in my voice that I have given you all I have to give at this point. I really hope that you will go get the book and let me know what you think about it. So I want to ask you, did I keep the promise of making creative business education available for everyone? Let me know in the chat. Because I've given you everything I have. My last over 2 years of work in creating this book that I think you will love. The advanced readers have loved it. And I am really looking forward to see how that impacts your lives, your businesses, and helps you turn your creative skill into a business, into what I call a container, where you get to do the work you love and supports the life you want. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you for supporting me, and see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.